Okay, so as you guys know, Vince and I had a little golf match over the weekend. Loser was to face punishment. Vince ended up beating me, so I'm going to be taking the punishment. My punishment is I have to do an ice on camera. So what I'm going to do, instead of chugging it normally, is I'm going to snorkel it because it's what I do best. Cheers.
That's so gross.
There's a hole.
It's so gross to even just watch that.
There's a hole in the straw. That's why you could just hear me sucking in
Yeah.
on it.
Like it didn't work right.
No.
It's actually usually fast.
I've seen him shoot it.
Yeah, it's usually faster.
Welcome to the Fantasy Beer League, where you get half-decent advice from half-decent guys. I'm your loser and your host, Shawn Joyce. With me, as always, is Chutney Chef Justin Giel and our fantasy football expert, Matthew Senni. Guys, week 2 was awful.
Yeah.
All the injuries. Personally, I lost Saquon, but I want to take a second to just talk about, fantasy football in general. Injuries happen. Guys get hurt. It's part of the game. It's part of the NFL in general. And your first instinct should never be to be angry about your fantasy team because these guys are real people. I feel like sometimes we lose that as fantasy football enthusiasts, and we think of them more as just players on our team than actual human beings. So hopefully all these players have speedy recoveries, full recoveries, and earn their millions and millions of dollars. But for now, I will accept my punishment as the lowest scoring team this week. I lost Saquon Barkley for the season. Chris Godwin was out with a concussion, so I started Scotty Miller in his place. He didn't do shit, but he did drop a touchdown pass. Tom Brady didn't love the white man this week. I'm just going to get through this because I'm feeling pretty sad about all these injuries, so let's get it. So my punishment today, which I will accept and not pay the fine, is to wear a banana costume for the entirety of the podcast, and at the end of the podcast, eat a banana with the rind. I'm going to go change.
Sounds like a good time.
That ice is sitting heavy right now. I don't know if it was just super cold, but that shit went down like syrup.
Dude, they're not good. I'm telling you.
He's hitting the lights. He's
Awesome.
walking.
My God.
There's your weapon of choice.
I feel ridiculous. I don't know how I'm going to get through the whole podcast.
You can't see your
talking
hair. You
fucking
can barely see your
seriously with the
eyebrows.
goddamn banana. This is a big banana, too, man. This thing is massive. It's like a 12-inch banana.
Dude, you're going to have to talk with that in your mouth at some point because it shit takes a long time to chew.
Yeah, well, you guys are going to talk for me at the end. Let's talk about some fantasy football in the meantime. We'll go through the week 2. Week 3 games. The first game we're going to cover today is the Houston Texans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh's looked really good through the first 2 weeks of the season, and this week they get their first true test against the Texans. Sunday, we saw James Conner get almost all of the running back work. He ran for over 100 yards in the process, including an explosive gain of 59 yards on one play. I'm personally still nervous about him, and 1 week isn't going to change my mind about that. But if he keeps up this dominant, healthy play, I think he's a must-start going forward. Obviously, you should keep starting Juju every week, but Deontay Johnson, he's emerged as a must-start receiver, I think. Do you agree with that, Justin?
I do. I think he's pulling a lot of targets from Juju because I feel Juju's the clear number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then with maybe the double coverages and everything like that, that ice is just coming back.
Yeah.
And then he got his first touchdown this week, and then he's been putting up a decent amount of yards. So, yeah, I mean, he's on my team. I'm going to start him. I think he's a must-start moving forward.
You started him this past week, right?
I did, yeah.
You did pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree. 8 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown in this one on 13 targets. 10 targets week 1. He's the only receiver in the NFL. I shouldn't say that. I take that back. I don't want to draw another fine in case I'm wrong. I think he's one of very few receivers that have 10 targets or more in each of the first 2 weeks of the year. I think he's kind of in that Antonio Brown role. I think he's emerged as that type of player.
Doesn't have the teeth yet.
No. Well, nobody can have the teeth. Just one last note for the Steelers. I just want to update our Eric Ebron bet. He has 4 catches and 0 touchdowns on the season. Let's talk about the Texans.
He's a slow burn.
Will Fuller 5 absolutely killed you this week if you started him against a dominant Ravens secondary. He had 0 targets. Brandon Cooks finished for 5 catches for 95 this week after a quiet week 1. And David Johnson struggled to find room with 11 carries for 34 yards. Justin, would you be nervous starting your Texans against the Steelers' dominant defense?
Kinda. The Steelers are prone to giving up big plays on the deep ball. So I think that plays kind of well into Will Fuller, 5. He's a good deep threat. As long as he can get open, he can get the ball. You saw what the Steelers did with Saquon in week 1, so I would be kind of nervous with David Johnson. But I don't think I would shy away from starting him just because I feel like he would be a good red zone threat. But I would say maybe him and Will Fuller would be the 2 that I would go with.
Yeah, I think I'd start Deshaun Watson because you have to. You're never going to bench him.
Well, yeah, I thought that was a given.
David Johnson, I think you probably don't have a better option. As for Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks, I think I'd be a little nervous about starting them personally. If I didn't have a better flex option, obviously they're fine there, but I wouldn't expect them to do much against the Steelers this week. And with that, I'm taking the Steelers to win the game.
Oh, yeah. We're going up 3 now.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Next up, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals visit the Philadelphia Eagles. Burrow finished Thursday night against the Browns with 61 pass attempts, over 300 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I'm not sure this team is going to win many games, but Burrow seems to be a serviceable fill-in and starter in 2 quarterback leagues. He also boosts the fantasy value of his teammates. Joe Mixon had a bit of a quiet game on the ground, but added 40 yards on 4 receptions. I'd ride him if you don't have better options. Phrasing, whoa, it sounds bad. This is a bit of a tough matchup for him, but I think he can still provide running back 2 numbers against Philly. Tyler Boyd had a great day against Cleveland, and assuming
started him as well.
Yeah, assuming Darius Slay shadows AJ Green this week, I'd expect Boyd to have another nice day on Sunday. Speaking of AJ Green, how do you feel about him so far this year and going forward, Justin?
Not big. I think he can kind of benefit because I feel like the Bengals are going to be playing from behind a lot, so they're going to be throwing the ball, so his options will be there. But I don't think he's the AJ Green that we saw in the past.
I don't either, but I still think that he's a serviceable player. He had 13 targets last week, so he didn't convert many of those targets into catches, yards, touchdowns, but the volume is there, and that's what we're chasing in fantasy football. So if you have him, keep starting him. As long as he's healthy, he'd be in my lineup. The Eagles are off to an 0-2 start, and this team looks pretty rough. Miles Sanders was the lone bright spot for them on Sunday. He should be in your lineup as long as he's active. Ertz and Goddard had pretty quiet fantasy games over the weekend, but I still believe in the talent and volume to keep them as startable players. I'd advise against starting any Eagles wide receivers. Nothing we've seen so far suggests they'll produce for you on a consistent basis. But I do think the Eagles get their first win this week.
I think so too, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'll give it to him.
All right. We all got the Eagles win in their first game. I don't know that we've had any right that way, so we'll see what happens. But I'll do my best not to tear up when I talk about this next game, talking about the 49ers and the Giants. But the main takeaway from week 2 is that Saquon tore his ACL. Without him, I think the Giants' offense is one that's best left avoided in fantasy football. Sterling Shepard also got banged up in this one, so you have to watch his availability going into the weekend. I don't see them producing very much without their best player in Saquon. None of their backup running backs or players that I think are going to be good enough to be productive with the Giants' offensive line. I know they just signed Devontae Freeman, but he's not the Devontae Freeman that he once was. Wayne Gallman is fine. Dion Lewis is fine, but there's just no room to work behind that terrible offensive line. They're going to be a throwing team. Daniel Jones is showing a lot of struggles still early on. I'd stay away from the Giants until something changes in that offense. The 49ers also couldn't get out of week 2 without an injury. In addition to a few key defensive injuries, they also lost Jimmy Garoppolo and Raheem Mostert. Jerick McKinnon showed some pop on 3 runs for 77 yards, but Tevin Coleman got the majority of work in Mostert's absence, totaling 14 carries for 12 yards. Coleman also left the game with a knee injury.
It
really is really bad.
He's expected to miss multiple weeks, but I've heard that time frame is a little iffy, so he may play. But either way, I'm not sure that I'm starting any of these running backs. I think McKinnon has the most upside. Is McKinnon a player you're targeting to pick up on waivers this week, Justin?
Not me personally, but I would see why you would pick him up, and I don't think it would be a bad thing to pick him up.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I think his story is a good one.
Yeah.
His entire 49ers stay has been riddled with injuries.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a guy who can't stay healthy. He was never a workhorse back. I don't see that changing now. And Shanahan likes to use multiple backs. He always has.
Yeah.
So I can understand picking him up as a flex in a deep play, but I don't think he has as much value as some people might think. If Kittle's healthy in time for this game, you obviously have to play him, but I think the other receiving options on this team are best left avoided. I expect this to be a sloppy, low-scoring game, and I'm actually going to take the Giants in an upset to get their first win of the season.
Me too. Giants 14-10.
I'm going with the 49ers. I'm sorry.
Good. No, I'm happy. I don't want it to be 3 for 3. Next up, Las Vegas Raiders at the New England Patriots. New England looked great on Sunday night against Seattle, and what was arguably the best game of the season so far.
Oh, yeah.
You still can't trust a running back on that team, but Edelman looked awesome while setting a new career high in receiving yards, and Cam looked like a true top fantasy quarterback. I'm in on firing those guys up in each and every week if you have them. Just set it and forget it. And in deep leagues, I also like N'Keal Harry as a flex play against a young Raiders secondary. As for the Raiders, you're still starting Josh Jacobs, obviously. He's a machine of volume. And if you drafted Darren Waller, you are a very happy man.
Yes, I am.
He had a monster game this past week, and you should continue to start him without hesitation. I think New England wins this game.
I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think they're going to go 3-0.
I like it.
I'm going with the Raiders, too.
All right, very good. Next up, the Tennessee Titans tighten up at the Minnesota Vikings. The Titans, from a fantasy perspective, look excellent so far this year. Derrick Henry is a true workhorse you can trust, and Ryan Tannehill has been phenomenal as a passer. Jonnu Smith has quietly scored 3 more touchdowns than Eric Ebron through the first 2 weeks of the season. Is he becoming a reliable fantasy starter?
Yeah, I guess he's more reliable than Eric Ebron. I had to actually look this guy up to see who the fuck he was, but yeah, 3 touchdowns in 2 games, nothing to shy away from.
No, yep, I like him. I think he's a fringe tight end 1 going forward. He gets a lot of looks from Tannehill. They used to throw to Delaney Walker in that role. Now that Jonnu Smith has that role to himself, I really like him going forward. I think he's got tremendous upside.
Yeah.
And with A.J. Brown being banged up, I think that as long as A.J. Brown is recovering from that injury, I really do think Jonnu Smith will continue to be good. Senny, tell everyone who the Vikings quarterback is.
That's so funny, dude. I don't know that I can tell you anybody on the Vikings. I'm really trying to think.
You heard of Kirk Cousins?
I did know that.
You did?
I have like a very vague picture of him in that jersey in my head. I never would have got it.
How do you like that?
Yeah, I never would have.
He fucking sucks so far this year.
Who else is?
Aside from junk time points, the Vikings offense has looked atrocious so far this year. Dalvin Cook has kept fantasy owners happy with late touchdowns, but Kirk Cousins has looked really, really, really bad through the first 2 weeks of the season. I'd keep starting Cook and Thielen, but that's it. And if they don't turn this around soon, I think Kirk Cousins' days may be numbered. His numbers may be dayed is what I'm
Numbers may be dayed.
Well,
dayed and confused.
Those dayed numbers, I think the Vikings carve out a desperate win.
I'm going to tighten up.
Tighten up.
Tighten up.
Yeah, I'm going to tighten up.
Tighten up. All right. Next up, the Washington football team at the Cleveland Browns.
What a fucking game.
I
Great
really don't
game.
even want to think about it.
The Browns looked really good against a bad football team on Thursday night, and luckily for them, they get to play the Washington one this week. Justin, are Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both top 20 running backs this week?
I think so.
I agree. Good analysis. Odell Beckham Jr. finally scored a long touchdown last week, and I have a feeling he has another one in him this week. He's a mid-tier wide receiver 2 for me, and Landry is a low-end flex. Landry, I might boost up in my ratings if he changes his goddamn hair. He looks ridiculous. I don't know if you saw it.
I did not.
He's got like purple dreads almost. He looks like grape soda. As for the football team, it's nice to see Terry McLaurin finally have a nice day with 7 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown. Hopefully he and Haskins can keep up their connection. He's still the only football team player I'd advise starting in standard leagues. The Antonio Gibson coming out party is coming soon, but we aren't quite there yet.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland football team wins this game.
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns.
Yeah, I was going to say the Browns no matter what.
Okay. Anybody but the football team this season?
What do you mean?
You'll pick against the football team every week, you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right, guys, I give up on this shit. We're going to talk about the Rams and the Bills. I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league. He'll get his first test against a competitive defense this week, but everything he's shown us so far this season suggests I'm an idiot, and he's just incredible. 300 yards week 1, 400 yards last week. Dude is just drilling it. Stephon Diggs looks awesome. I was low on him, too.
Same.
Singletary and Moss appear to have a true 50-50 split in this offense, and for that reason, I don't advise starting either as anything more than desperate flex plays. Talking about the awesomeness of Josh Allen, he still runs a lot. which limits their upside as well. Senny, can you name one of the wide receivers on the Bills?
No, I don't think I've ever watched a Bills game in my life.
All right. Well, I guess you missed me say Stephon Diggs, which is
No,
awesome because I totally didn't mean to.
Nope, totally wasn't paying attention.
Okay. Justin, obviously, Stephon Diggs is locked in as the number one wide receiver on this offense, and he needs to be started every week going forward. But is John Brown a guy to start taking more seriously? He has at least 70 yards and a touchdown in each of the first 2 games this season.
I have almost verbatim that same exact note that he should be taken a little bit more seriously due to that stat line. He's not as prolific.
Ooh.
But the numbers that he's been putting out, I probably wouldn't have him as 1 or 2, maybe as a high-end flex.
Yeah, I agree.
But, yeah, I think we should start taking him seriously.
And the big plays there. Josh Allen likes to chuck the fuck out of the ball, so I like to
throw the ball a mile, too.
I know he can. And as long as that stays accurate, then, maybe I will eat my words. Just like I'm going to eat a goddamn banana peel later. Tyler Higbee for the Rams erupted for 3 touchdowns against Philly last week, and since the Bills just let Mike Gesicki run all over them, I think Higbee is a top 5 play again this week.
Oh, yeah.
Due to injury, it appears as though Darrell Henderson will see a ton of work this week. Malcolm Brown, I think, hurt his finger, and Cam Akers has a rib injury. So one of them might be able to play through their injury, but I still think Darrell Henderson will see the majority of the work. He looked pretty good, but I like him as a flex play at best with solid rush defense in the Bills. Excuse me. Keep starting Woods and Kupp. I know that they're not, exploding yet, but those big days are coming. I think the Rams are going to win this game.
Yeah, go Rams too.
Yeah, I was going to say Rams.
All right, 3 for the Rams. How will the Falcons find a way to lose against the Bears?
The Bears.
If you're a fan of the Falcons, I feel really sorry for you, but if you have any of these guys in fantasy football, I think you should be happy that this defense is so laughably bad. Julio had a quiet game despite Atlanta scoring 39 points, which is frustrating. But that's not going to happen every week. He's dealing with a hamstring injury currently. I think he'll bounce back as the season goes on. So start your Falcons all the time. This team has plenty of offense to go around. They score a ton of points, and they always seem to need a touchdown. As for the Bears, do you believe that David Montgomery should be a weekly starter now?
I do. He was banged up, the first game, and then this past week he caught a lot out of the backfield and had
4 catches.
Yeah, decent game on the ground. So I think he's a weekly starter.
Yep, he had a great game against the Giants. I still think he's matchup dependent. The volume is always going to be there, so there's no question about that. But he just isn't that efficient as a ball carrier. This is another good matchup, I think, so I would start him against the Falcons. But I think I'm also going to take the Bears in some theatrical, horrible way. It's just the Falcon way.
I'm going to go with the Falcons. I think they're going to pull it off this week.
They got to win at least one game, right? It's got to happen eventually.
Maybe not.
So I think it's interesting because earlier when we were talking about the Texans, we said just start Deshaun Watson if you have him, right? Mm-hmm. So I started Matt Ryan over him last week. Obviously, we know even if they're going to lose, he's going to put up big numbers. I am personally going to start Matt Ryan again, and I am going to take the Falcons in this game.
Yeah, not many people have Watson and Ryan on the same team.
No, I know.
Yeah, so that's an interesting scenario. I would agree. I think, especially when they always seem to need points, and they don't do anything well defensively or on special teams because they don't even know the goddamn rules. All right, guys, it's time we get to Thirsty Thursday. All right, Thursday Night Football, game of the week. We get the Beard versus the Mustache. Say, do you know who the Beard and the Mustache are? Either of them?
The Beard and the Mustache?
Yeah, the Beard and the Mustache. Game of the week.
No, I have no idea. I'm trying to think if is anyone's their logo a beard or a mustache, and I can't.
No,
I can't say that. I can't say that I did. I have no
logo.
I'm trying to picture does somebody's logo have like a beard on it.
I'm going to talk about the Beard, and Justin's going to talk about the Mustache. The Beard, of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick, a.k.a. Fitzmagic. He's the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
I know who they are, but I don't know what they look like without their helmets. I'm like, okay.
Ryan Fitzpatrick has an awesome beard. You should look it up.
I have heard you guys talk about him before in his beard.
Yeah. As long as Devontae Parker stays healthy throughout the week, I view him as a low-end wide receiver 2 in this game. His teammate Mike Gesicki, I think, is a borderline tight end 1 against the leaky Jags defense. Like I said earlier, he had a great game last week against the Bills. Gaskin appears to be the best back on the Dolphins, but that really isn't saying much. They aren't a team who runs the ball particularly well, and it's still a committee. They're still committed to trying to make Jordan Howard get meaningful touches. Same with Matt Breida.
Forgot they both went there.
Yeah, and they're not really doing anything.
Yeah.
I think that I'm pretty sure Jordan Howard has like 1 yard per carry on the season.
Nice.
Something terrible like that. I'm going to take a second to talk about my beer before I pick this game. I'm drinking Between You and I by Green Bench Brewing. It's a collab with another brewery that I do not know. I will add that to the Instagram post. So follow us on Instagram if you want to see what that other brewery is. It's a Czech Pilsner, and it tastes like a Pilsner. Yep, really light. A little bit hoppier than a Miller Lite. But
yeah, the style that it said was something weird. Triple decocted.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Czech
means.
Pills? No idea.
Not sure. But it's a hoppy Pilsner is basically what it tastes like. And I'm going to take the beard to win this game. Dolphin up. Fitz magic.
I guess I'm going to talk about the mustache.
Talk about the mustache. Tell me who you think's going to win. Tell me about your beer.
All right. Talk about the mustache. I love Gardner Minshew. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's particularly noteworthy, but his mustache is pretty killer. I think he should start DJ Chark Jr., so the second one. Don't have a whole lot to talk about. I forget the running back from the team, but he's been...
James Robinson.
Okay. He's been playing pretty all right?
Yes, he has. He had a great game against the Titans.
I like him too.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. So I guess I'll move into talking about my beer. I'm drinking Florida Man. It's a double IPA from Cigar City Brewing. It's nice and light. It was a bitch and a half to fucking find in New Jersey.
Yeah.
They do not send Florida beers up here very often.
No, they don't.
And I'm going to jag down and go with the Jags.
All right. 3 times in a row, Justin's picked the Jags.
I got a soft spot in my heart ever since they beat us in the playoffs a couple years ago.
Oh, true.
Well, I can't stand them.
All right, Senny, tell us what you're drinking and tell us who you think's going to win the game.
So I'm going to assume, if I can read a can correctly, this is called Weekend Warrior from Double Nickel in Pennsauken. Seemingly everybody I know has been here except for me.
We got to take you.
A pale ale. I think it's pretty good.
You still haven't been?
Never. We were supposed to go with one of our friends, and he left before we were supposed to go. And I'm going to go with the Jags. I'm not a fan of the Jags. I just feel pretty good about them at this point.
All right. Thursday Night Football, game of the week.
Can't wait. I'm going to stay up.
Who's playing, Sonny?
Jags and Dolphins.
The beard and the mustache. That's right. The big story surrounding this next game, the Panthers and the Chargers, is that CMC is out for multiple weeks. His backup, Mike Davis, had 8 catches for 74 yards and 1 carry for 1 yard in McCaffrey's absence. Justin, what are your expectations for Davis with this matchup?
I mean, obviously he's no CMC, but I think he's going to fill in pretty all right.
I agree. He's my number 1 pickup this week. It sounds like the Panthers are ready to commit to him based on everything I've read. So the lead back in that offense, it's going to get a lot of short passes from Teddy Bridgewater, going to get all the carries, it seems like. So I liked Mike Davis until McCaffrey comes back.
Yep.
I think he's a serviceable player for the next 4 to 6 weeks. DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson both went over 100 yards last week, and I expect this team to throw a ton in most games. I view DJ Moore as a low-end wide receiver 1, and Robbie Anderson is a flex play for me. I don't expect him to keep this tear going with over 100 yards every week, but with CMC out, I do expect his floor to stay relatively high because they're going to throw so much. We already know he has huge boom potential, so in those good weeks that you hit with Robbie Anderson, you're really going to hit.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert made his debut on Sunday against the Chiefs and played very well. The offense looked better under him, albeit with a very small sample size. I expect him to keep this job for the remainder of the season, and I think that boosts the productivity of his weapons. It's worth noting that Joshua Kelly actually led the team in carries on Sunday. He had more than Austin Eckler. I think he's a fine flex play going forward, and even if it is a true 50-50 split with Eckler, Eckler's still a high-end running back 2, low-end running back 1 to me. He's got involved with the passing game this past week. They're both going to get about 20 touches, it seems. Yeah. So I really like that offense. I think they're good at running the ball. And when they're down, you know that Eckler's going to get lots of catches. I think the Chargers are going to win this one.
Yeah, go Chargers.
Yeah, I was going to say go with Chargers. Especially with that McCaffrey.
Yeah. Next up, the goddamn Jets at the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor dominated the backfield in touches against Minnesota, and I'd expect to see more of the same this week against the goddamn Jets. They allowed a 55-yard run on 3rd and 31 on Sunday.
I had to read that stat 3 times on my phone.
It's incredible. It's
awful.
It's hard to be that bad. I think Taylor is going to have a big game, especially against the Jets. He's a top 10 play for me this week. Paris Campbell, unfortunately, injured his knee in week 2. It looks like he'll be out for potentially the season. But Justin, T.Y. Hilton has been very quiet so far this season. Do you think he turns it around this week against the goddamn Jets?
I think now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
I truthfully don't know, though. I don't know how he's going to pan out this year. There was a reason I stayed away from him in the draft, just because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. He's pretty inconsistent and pretty injury prone as well.
Yeah.
80 yards, 1 touchdown.
Okay, that's a good day.
Yeah.
Saying, do you have him in our?
I do, and I'm gonna play him anyway. And it's a shame because when Mike Thomas got hurt, I put in Campbell for him to get hurt.
Yeah.
So I do have a lot of faith in the Colts, but I am gonna keep T.Y. Hilton in just in case he picks up a touchdown.
Yeah, it is a shame about Paris Campbell. Last season, he was a promising rookie who dealt with a lot of injuries, so it really sucks to see him thrive week 1 and then get hurt in week 2 already.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton, I am nervous about. I think if he doesn't turn it around this week, you might need to look for other options. For some reason, the chemistry doesn't seem to be there with Phillip Rivers. I know he dropped a touchdown on Sunday. So we'll see what happens with T.Y. As for the Jets, I think Jamison Crowder is the only player you can start, and even he is only a flex play. The slot man in an Adam Gase offense gets a lot of targets, which keeps Jamison Crowder's floor high because the Jets are going to have to throw all the time. But they can't run the ball. They're terrible. They I think are the worst team in the league. So with that saying, the Jets are a total goddamn dumpster fire. I'm going to take the Colts.
I'm going to take the Jets.
All right.
I think it's going to be an upset.
I can't imagine why you would do that.
I think it's going to be an upset. I'm going with it.
I'm going with Indy. I have like 4 of them on my team.
Well, I don't think that's a bad pick at all, Seti. I'd be shocked. But I've seen weirder things. It's a weird game, so we'll see what happens. This should be another fun and high-scoring game. The Dallas Cowboys at the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson looks like the early favorite to win the MVP in my eyes. Because of him, you can always start your Seahawks with confidence. You're always starting him. You're always starting Chris Carson and Tyler Lockett. But after watching him get 92 yards and a touchdown on Stephon Gilmore, has DK Metcalf put himself in the must-start territory?
I think so.
Yeah.
He showed up week 1 also,
Yeah.
and he's just looking good. He's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
You've shown before he can go up and get a ball with anyone. So, yeah, I think you must start.
I agree with you. As for Dallas, Dak, Zeke, and Cooper have all returned on the investment you made in them when you drafted on draft day. Michael Gallup, however, only has 5 catches so far this season. I have him in this league, and I'm feeling pretty nervous about him going forward. Should I keep starting him, Justin?
I'm nervous with him. I don't know. It's disheartening to see just because of how good of an athlete he is and how good he's been in the past.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he can turn it around, but I do think it's noteworthy to be nervous.
Yeah, and I mean, CeeDee Lamb has looked good. He looks like a legit flex play, so Michael Gallup might be the 3rd best receiver on the team already, which, sucks for people like me who were higher on Gallup. And even Dalton Schultz had a great game against the Falcons.
There's so many weapons on that team.
Yeah, I don't think that Schultz is going to be long-term the answer at tight end. I don't think that he's going to get 9 catches every week. So I think it's a fluky play. I'm not reaching to pick him up. I'm not that interested in Dalton Schultz. But yeah, Michael Gallup makes me very nervous going forward. If I have better options, I'm definitely starting them. I think the Seahawks win another fantasy-friendly game.
I'm going to go Dallas.
I'm going with Dallas.
You guys like Dallas. That's right.
Dak has proven to play pretty well, man.
Yeah, he has. You're not wrong there at all. But
I just like Dallas. I don't know.
I mean, that's fine. And I think either way, I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be close. Next up, Tampa Bay at the Denver Broncos. The Broncos lost Cortland Sutton for the season, and they lost Drew Lock for multiple weeks. Due to the change at quarterback, I think the only pass catcher on this team you should keep starting is Noah Fant. He has looked fantastic so far. He scored a touchdown in each of the first 2 weeks, and he looks special with the ball in his hands. I'd also advise you to keep starting Melvin Gordon 3. He appears to be a draft day steal so far through the early portions of the season. Denver's offense obviously takes a hit without Drew Lock, but Noah Fant, Melvin Gordon, I think are weekly plays. KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy are guys to keep an eye on, bench stashes.
Especially with Sutton being out.
Yeah. Tampa Bay won in week 2, but there isn't much to be excited about. Mike Evans looked great last week, and Chris Godwin should return from injury. He cleared through the concussion protocol early this week, so you're obviously starting both of those guys in week 3. But Justin, Gronk had 0 catches in week 2. Is it time to move on?
He's washed.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know that his last year in New England, he was more of a blocking tight end. He wasn't that effective as a pass catcher, but he just doesn't look like Gronk at all.
No.
I don't even know if he's the best tight end on the team, honestly.
Yeah, it's. I always liked him.
Yeah, I mean, I love Gronk, obviously. Yeah. He's like one of my favorite players.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I really hated New England is when they were playing us. Otherwise, really didn't care to hate him.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's just, I think he's washed.
How old is he right now?
Maybe 30.
31.
Vince, can you Google
That's
how
crazy.
old Gronk is while I talk about Leonard Fournette?
That's really crazy.
Yeah. The other situation to talk about here is the running backs room. Ronald Jones, too, scored a touchdown in this one, but Leonard Fournette led the team in touches, ran for over 100 yards, and scored twice. Is it time for fantasy managers to begin starting him?
I'm gonna die on this hill and say no. I think it was a fluke, just because I don't want to be wrong about him.
I don't think it's a fluke. I don't know that I'm rushing to start him every week. But I do think, I mean, they made a move to get him. I think they want to use him. So
yeah,
I think if nothing else, he muddles the running backs room.
Yeah,
and makes it harder to start Ronald Jones or Fournette. Vince, you got an answer on Gronk's age? 31. Yeah, right on the money. I think Tampa Bay wins 2 in a row.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, so do I.
Okay.
Means they're gonna lose.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Next up, the Detroit Lions at the Arizona Cardinals. The Lions expect Kenny Golladay to return this week after missing the first 2 games with a hamstring injury. If he plays, you have to start him. Yeah. He's one of the most talented wide receivers in the league. TJ Hawkinson is a fine tight end play in deep leagues, and Marvin Jones is a boom-bust flex play, just like every week. That's the tradition with Marvin Jones Jr.
Kind of a thing you would expect from a guy named Marvin Jones.
Maybe. I never thought about that, but...
Marvin. It's a weird name.
Marvin is a bit of a weird name. I don't really like it. I would never name my child Marvin. How do you look at a baby and name it Marvin?
There's 2 Marvin Joneses in the world now.
At least.
Yeah.
There might be maybe he has a kid. You don't know.
Yeah, we're going to have to look up how the juniors and seconds and thirds work.
The second thing is the thing that really makes me laugh.
I think it's not a real thing. I think
just be junior.
It's junior.
Yeah.
Is it the same? We'll figure this out later.
Anyway, there isn't a running back on this team that I would start.
No.
It's a true committee. Matt Patricia wants so badly to be Bill Belichick. He's Bill Belichick if Bill Belichick worked in a Budweiser warehouse. He uses his running backs like for no reason. You know, DeAndre Swift will have 10 carries. Adrian Peterson will have 20. They'll just mix it up with whatever he thinks is best for the matchup.
And still lose the game.
I think that Swift has the most upside, but Peterson and Kerryon Johnson are still going to get their touches. So for the time being, I think this backfield is best left on the bench. As for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins have looked spectacular through the first 2 weeks. Kenyon Drake, however, has yet to eclipse 100 total yards of offense or score a touchdown. Are you nervous about starting Drake going forward, Justin?
I mean, I don't have him, so I'm not nervous at all.
I'm probably still going to start him.
Yeah, okay.
I think you should still start him. I say just give it time. That offense is going to take its little... I mean, passing game's good.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get the running game incorporated. It just needs a little bit of time to click.
I agree. I think that's the way to go. He still had 20 carries last week. You love to see volume in fantasy football. So as long as the volume is there, I think you keep starting him. Even if he isn't that efficient of a runner. He's never been a workhorse in his career, which is what makes me nervous about him. But it seems that they're committed to giving him the ball. So until that stops, you have to keep starting him. I think the Cardinals win this one.
Yeah, Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals.
All right, time for some Sunday night football.
We've been waiting all day for Sunday night.
Third overall pick, Aaron Jones, exploded on Sunday with 236 yards and 3 total touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers still looks like Aaron Rodgers, and you should be starting both Aarons until further notice. Devontae Adams left this game on Sunday early with a hamstring injury, but early reports suggest that he could have re-entered the game if they weren't kicking the shit out of the Lions. If he's good to go, obviously you're going to start him, but I still don't trust any other pass catcher on this team. You can trot out MVS or Allen Lazard if you're desperate at flex, but I don't think you can bank on either having a high floor from week to week. The Saints, which is the team they play, the Packers and the Saints lost to the Raiders on Monday night. How do you feel about that, Sonny?
I want the Saints to lose every game from now on because Mike Thomas is playing anyway.
Oh, yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm so happy that the Saints keep losing. The only bright spot for this offense was Alvin Kamara, who you're never benching anyway, but at least you know that he's still good at football. Traquan Smith has had the second most receptions on the team behind Kamara in Michael Thomas's absence.
Dropped a lot last night, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't look that great.
Nah, it was like 5 balls I saw just go out of his hands.
Yeah, I don't believe there's a guy you want on this team after Michael Thomas in the wide receiver room. Kamara is obviously the guy that stands to benefit the most.
Yeah.
Jared Cook will get some red zone work and inexplicable touches for no reason. Drew Brees, I think, has been showing his age early in this season. So other than Kamara and Thomas when he returns, is there any other player that you'd feel comfortable starting?
I don't think so. Nobody really stood out. Jared Cook looked like shit.
Yeah.
Still can't catch. He had that one good year, but yeah, I don't think there's anybody that I would start.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I picked the Packers to win this game.
I'm going to go Saints. I think they're going to pull it out.
All right, we'll see.
No, I'm going with the Packers.
All right, Senny picks the Packers. And Senny, why don't you tell us what you've been waiting all day for?
I've been waiting all day to talk about party games.
Party games, all right.
So, when you're having people over and you guys are drinking, the first thing, that people think of in terms of games is, right, beer pong, flip cup, especially if you're outside. Kings is another big one. But as years have gone on, with technology, there's been more stuff that's come out. So one of the more corny ones is this game Heads Up, right? You flip it, you guess.
On your phone, yeah.
I know people who literally, like, if they go like this.
Played it on Saturday.
I do a lot of times with, like, older people, and that's what they do. Cards Against Humanity has obviously been around for years. And Piccolo, which we used to play all the time. And how much do they charge for you now?
So,
$5 a week.
Piccolo was a game we used to play. It's like Kings, basically. I don't know if our audience is familiar with Kings.
I'd imagine they probably.
Well, it's a regional thing, actually. I've met people from other states that don't know what Kings is, or they'll call it something different. King's Cup is another name for it.
I knew about King's Cup. I just
Anyway, I digress. That's not the point of this story. Piccolo was a game that, if you got prompts on your phone, it would tell you what to do. It was a free app. It was fun to play with your friends. Then those fuckers started charging me $5 a week.
A week.
That's just
not even a month.
It's insane.
A week.
Continue, Senny. I'm sorry.
Well, since then, there's been a game that has really come up in the ranks, which is Jackbox, right?
Yeah.
Jackbox has 6 packs. There's about 5 games in each, which means there's about 30 games.
Mm-hmm.
I own a couple of them.
It's the math teacher coming out.
And we steal a couple of them from one of our good friends who's logged in on my system. The games are so popular that you can actually look for them online. You can buy them individually for like $2 or $3. There's a couple different experiences. Like one of them is called Role Models, where you can kind of assign like the stereotype to your friends based on what you think that they are. There's one where like it's literally about seeing who lies the best. But the 2 big name ones are Quiplash and Murder Mystery, right? Mm-hmm. So Quiplash is basically Cards Against Humanity, but you can make it up. You say whatever you want. There's no hold bars. If a certain word comes up, it's from me. Mm-hmm. And Murder Mystery Party is just trivia, but when you get it wrong, your character dies. There's a punishment. But the cool part is that you can still come back and you can still win the whole game.
Yep.
We watch people who have no idea what they're talking about, including me in terms of trivia, beat someone like you who goes to trivia like every week.
Yeah. So
we see that it happens. I'm going to ask you each individually. Shawn, which would you say is a better game, Quiplash or Murder Mystery?
I actually prefer Quiplash because I think it allows me to be more creative. I really enjoy both. And I just like, if you find... also, these are games I play when I drink. And when I drink, I don't always want to think that much. So with Quiplash, I'm just trying to be funny. I'm trying to latch on to, like, one funny thing that happened that everybody's going to laugh at.
Yeah.
It usually involves our one friend that we, it's just easy to make fun of. You just take the low-hanging fruit. Yeah, exactly. Everybody has that friend that you hang out with to make fun of. So,
and if you don't know who it is, it's you.
Exactly. That's great advice. Now, Justin, you can give your take on this.
Yeah, I agree with Shawn. I'm going to go with Quiplash just because I'm so fucking bad at Trivia Murder Party. And I could be in first the entire time, and then somebody else could just win.
That is a frustrating thing.
It's so annoying. Yeah. You could be in first the entire, and then you lose a finger. And now I hate losing the finger. Hate losing the finger.
That is bad.
So I personally like the Trivia Murder Party because I do play this with family members that are older, and you don't realize that your family members are not as good with technology as you are.
No. I fully realize that.
A lot of times they can't even log in. They're not funny enough to play Quiplash.
True.
So you can at least do like the Murder Party, and then they have some chance because they might know some stupid thing about a piece of art from 200 years ago that you've never heard of.
That's my dad. Like, he knows like paintings and things in like France and like buildings in Spain. I'm like,
and I have family members who this is like what they want to play. Every time I go see my in-laws, it's make sure Matthew brings the game. Make sure he brings the game.
The game. That's all.
And if I don't bring the game, it's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
So if this isn't something you've played, it's Jackbox. It's on pretty much any system. It's a great thing for parties.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you there, Senny. Next up, we're going to do our last game of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's arguably the best game on paper. It's got, the 2 guys you want, Mahomes and Jackson.
It could be the best game of the year.
It could be. It very well could be. The Ravens' backfield still looks like a true committee to me. I'm not so sure that that's going to change anytime soon. They have a lot of talent back there. Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown, I think, should both be in your lineup every week going forward. But the running backs in Baltimore, I'm too nervous to start them. I feel like if you start J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram's going to go off. If you start Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins is going to go off. Some weeks, Gus Edwards is going to get touchdowns and carries. So
Imagine being named Gus.
Gus. Oh, Gus the Groundhog. We got to talk about that one day, how much I fucking hate Gus the Groundhog.
I saw you put up that snap. And
every time there's a new commercial, I got to air my grievances. As for Kansas City, I think I'm only interested in starting the 4 big names. So other than Mahomes, CEH, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, are there any other players you'd start, Justin?
No, I know I talked about Sammy Watkins, but I seem to be dead wrong about him.
Well, he got hurt, in fairness, but he didn't have a catch until the third quarter.
Yeah, but he always gets hurt too. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think those 4 guys are in your lineup every week. Everybody else is nothing more than a
fun team to watch.
It is, absolutely.
Such a good team to watch.
There's no denying that. No denying that, but you don't know which guy is going to catch the long touchdown.
Yeah.
Whether it's DeMarcus Robinson, Sammy Watkins, Mecole Hardman, those guys are all just deep, desperate flex plays for me. I think the Ravens are going to win this game. You guys can give me your picks, and then I'll eat the banana.
I'm going to go Chiefs just because I don't want to pick the Ravens.
Oh, understandable. Yeah.
And I don't know. I think they're gonna pull it out.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs are a better team.
I think they're both pretty evenly matched.
I think they are both up there.
I think it could go either way for sure. I think it's going to be a great game. Hopefully, it lives up to the hype. Vince, can you bring me my Nana?
Where is your Nana?
It's next to you.
Oh, thanks, Vince.
The power of television.
You are what you eat.
Do you have any tips on this? I know
From the bottom.
Which one's the bottom?
Is this the bottom?
Yeah.
That's the bottom?
Yeah. I have to eat this too, right?
I don't know that I have in the past.
That's almost wood. I wouldn't say you have to eat that.
I'll eat at least the yellow part. Is that good? All the parts
I think
that are
that's
yellow?
fair.
All right.
Oh my god, it sounds like you bit into an apple.
Hard to chew, right?
Oh my god.
I told you.
Dude, it tastes horrible.
You can't underestimate how hard it is. Should have gotten like an old one where the peel was like beat.
I just bought these on Sunday.
I can hear you crunching it, dude. It's just
it's crispy.
I mean, it looks like a good banana, to be honest with you.
It looks fresh.
The banana part tastes good.
I'd imagine it would.
You should have eaten this throughout the episode because you're going to take forever to do this. It's not an easy thing.
Well, Vince, what time are we at on the podcast?
I'm going to Google the world record for this.
25 minutes on this camera, so you got 4 minutes and 59 seconds to finish.
He ain't. There's no shot. I'm Googling what the world record is. Well, there's the most bananas peeled and eaten, which is not what I asked for.
How many people do you think just eat the banana with the peel on it?
At least one.
At least one. There's 2 now.
You know what I looked up on?
Done it multiple times.
You know what I looked up on Saturday? The world record for a baby to finish 150 milliliters of breast milk.
Dude, this world record's for
Dude, I wish I gave
stupid
enough of a
stuff.
fuck to hear anything you just said.
8 minutes and 21 seconds. His name was Wolfgang, and he was from New Zealand. Kid fucking sucks.
How hard is this? Dude, if there's not a world record, I'm going to set it. Because if I don't find it, I'm doing it.
You should have taken this punter.
That was a big bite.
As long as it's firm.
I don't know what you
Dude, it's
said.
so dry. It tastes like baby powder.
Drink your beer.
That's a good idea.
Or is this
Yeah,
gonna
the
be?
beer should make it way easier.
Or is that gonna be like the banana and Sprite challenge, where like the carbonation's gonna make you?
It's just going to puke.
See, my issue is I've been eating it methodically, but now I have this fucking like giant chunk of just peel left.
Yeah, it looks like the Who people or people from Whoville. Looks like their hair.
Bananas are wet, but my mouth is so dry.
It's because you're eating the peel.
We should have put the saltine challenge on here, dude. That's one of those things that I don't understand how people can't do it.
No, it's hard, dude.
And then I try it, and I can't
You can't
make
do it.
sense of why it's like so hard.
Yeah, it feels like you're eating sand.
It's just a cracker. Like, how hard is this?
But it's what? It's what, 10?
It dries your mouth out so
Oh, look
So
at-
much.
Are banana peels edible? And it just says nope. But then it's like, they are edible. I don't know why they said nope.
Well, I mean, I'm eating it, so it's
Yeah.
it's edible to
If
me.
you can put it in your mouth and chew it, it's edible.
Phrasing.
Well, hell.
Yeah.
Phrasing.
We gotta have a Festivus
The
episode.
peel on a fresh banana is pretty tough and slightly bitter.
Yeah, that's why you take it off.
Eat it up. To eat it up. Why they didn't just say eat it. Give it a good wash. Remove the stem. And try blending it into a smoothie. That's cheating.
You're gonna have good protein. You're making mean poop.
It's gonna be so
Dude, I just want to be done with this already.
You're making good time. I think. I don't
Trying
know.
to finish it as fast as I can.
You got 2.5 minutes.
Is this a good thumbnail picture, Vince?
Oh, what it says is banana peels are totally edible if prepared correctly. So I wonder if eating it raw is prepared
I don't think I prepared it. I
correctly.
just bought it from the food store and tried putting it in my mouth.
Close your computer for a second. And then pose.
Perfect.
Oh, you look so happy.
I'm really not.
It's got plenty of fiber. Ugh.
Well,
I think you're good with that. Oh, you want more?
the other part is gonna suck ass.
Yeah.
I just found this picture. Dude, there's like no pictures of people doing this. This is the only guy who's on your level right now of doing this.
Dude.
Nobody wants to do it.
Oh, that last bite was bad.
Ugh.
I kind of wish I did it from the other side first, because that would be at least the hard part over.
Are you full? Is it making you full?
No. It's just making me miserable.
Would you rather do that or bite into a raw onion?
This.
I would do the onion now. I like onions more than I used to. I wouldn't have done it in the past.
I like onions, but I don't know if I want to eat a raw one.
Oh, I'll do
Do you
it.
eat? Is it eating the whole onion?
We don't know.
We'll figure it out.
That's terrible.
I'll eat the whole onion.
I don't know that I'll eat the whole
Sign
onion.
off. You're running late.
I could for real just puke.
Just read that. You do it.
All right. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Fantasy Beer League. We'll be with you every Wednesday on YouTube with audio-only podcast available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Pandora. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FantasyBeerLG. That's FantasyBeerLG. Those are the words Fantasy Beer and the letters LG. As always, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more half-decent advice and dumbass punishments.
Look at that.
I'm Justin Giel. That's Shawn Joyce. And here's Matthew Senni with his advice of the week.
If you are going to buy one of the Jackbox games, you want to go with Party Pack 3. That is the only one that has both Quiplash and Trivia Murder Party. You're going to get the old original Murder Party. And that one you don't have to get every question right to win. So a lot of people like that a lot better. So again, that is Party Pack 3 would be the best one for you to buy.
Thanks for watching. Good luck in week 3.
See you guys.
He has it on backwards. You have it on backwards.
I do, but like I didn't know. It didn't look like it was backwards.
Oh, that's better.